Have you ever thought about what happens to all the brilliant ideas the professionals cook up every single day inside AI chats? You know, the complex code, the engineering solutions. Well, what if I told you there's a confidential proposal out there that could turn all those lost insights into a massive new economy? A plan that could make Google an absolute fortune in the process. It's called Project Ironclad. And at the very heart of this proposal is one, frankly, staggering number: $50 billion. And get this, that's not a one-time windfall. We're talking about $50 billion in new, high-margin revenue every single year. So that leads us to the obvious $50 billion question. How on earth could a system like this even be possible? Well, the core idea is actually pretty elegant. Project Ironclad wants to take those fleeting AI conversations and transform them into protected, licensable intellectual property. Specifically, trade secrets that can be sold to major corporations looking for solutions. Okay, so let's do the napkin math because it's surprisingly simple. The global market for R&D spending is gigantic, about $2.5 trillion a year. Now, if Google could build a system that replaces even a tiny piece of that slow, expensive process, it only needs to capture just 2% of that market to hit its $50 billion target. That's it. But, for an opportunity that big to just be sitting there must be a huge unsolved problem, right? Well, there is. And the proposal has a great name for it: the Great AI Value Leak. Just think about it for a second. Every single day, you've got senior engineers, scientists, and architects using tools like Gemini to create incredibly sophisticated things: source code, blueprints, chemical formulas. These are hugely valuable insights, but right now, they just vanish into private chat histories, lost forever. And this leak, it hurts everybody. You've got billions in potential R&D value just being wasted. The professionals themselves, they're scared to put their best work into these systems because there's no way to protect it or make money from it. So what's the result? Google gets lower quality data, the users get nothing for their expertise, and the whole market misses out. So how do you go about plugging a leak of that size? This is where we get to the real core of the Ironclad proposal.
The idea is to create a secure, private registry. Think of it like a digital vault for industrial know-how. It's a place where users can register their best AI-generated insights, not as flimsy copyrights, but as legally protected trade secrets.
And here's the truly brilliant legal move that makes the whole thing work. AI copyright is a total mess, right? Nobody can agree on who the author even is. But trade secret law is different. It's not about who wrote it. It's about who has access to the know-how. And it's all based on simple, rock-solid contract law. So here's how it would actually work. A user creates something valuable. They register it on the Ironclad ledger, which basically creates a time-stamped digital fingerprint of the idea. In that instant, the user and Google become contractual co-owners of that trade secret. And the best part? When that asset gets licensed to a big company, the profits are split right down the middle, 50-50. Okay, I know what you're thinking. A system like this sounds good in theory, but it faces two massive practical problems. How do you stop people from uploading junk? And how do you sell a secret without giving it away? Well, the proposal has this really smart 3-layer filter. First, Gemini itself acts as a bouncer, checking submissions for quality. Second, there's a tiny $5 registration fee. Now, for a professional, $5 is nothing. But for a spammer trying to upload 10,000 garbage entries, that's a $50,000 bill. And finally, the ultimate proof is the market itself. An asset is only truly validated when a company pays cold, hard cash to license it. And for the second problem, Ironclad solves that classic paradox with a tiered reveal. First, a public abstract gets a company curious. If they're interested, they sign an NDA to see more detailed specs. And only after they pay the licensing fee do they get the keys to the kingdom, the full, complete secret. All right, let's tackle the two biggest questions this whole thing raises. First, how is this different from what's already out there? And second, why in the world would anyone trust Google with their best ideas? The proposal puts it pretty bluntly. It compares existing models to bicycles next to Ironclad's jet engine. The GPT store is all about volume, but it has zero IP protection. The gig economy is just trading your time for money. Neither one gives you true, scalable ownership of your ideas. But here's the absolute killer feature, the one thing that sets this whole idea apart. The proposal calls it enforcement as a service. See, as a co-owner, Google would use its army of lawyers to defend your IP. So if a corporation licenses your idea and then tries to steal it, you're not fighting them alone. You literally have Google as your legal bodyguard. But that leads us straight to the biggest hurdle of all. Why would you trust Google as a co-owner? Couldn't they just see your great idea and steal it for themselves? Well, the argument comes down to pure, cold, hard economics. The proposal puts it perfectly. The real money for Google isn't in being a petty thief and stealing one idea. It's in becoming the world's trusted IP bank for millions of ideas, taking a fair cut of every single transaction. In that world, trust becomes their single most valuable asset. So if, and it's a big if, but if a system like this could actually solve that trust problem, the implications are just massive. We could be talking about an entirely new economy for intellectual property. I mean, think of all the incredible innovations that are just sitting on hard drives right now, what the proposal calls dark data. The patent process is way too slow and costs thousands of dollars. But with a $5 instant registration system, IRONCLAD could wake up that sleeping giant, turning all those dead files into real, passive income streams for people. And that really gets to the bottom line of this whole plan. The technology to do this? It's already here. The market need for high-quality, verified solutions, it's absolutely starving for it. The only thing that's missing, according to the author, is the corporate courage to actually go out and build it. So what do you think? Is a system like Project Ironclad a real glimpse into the future of how we create and monetize our best ideas? Or is it just a brilliant but ultimately unworkable fantasy? The answer to that question could really shape the next decade of the AI revolution.